Born in 1940 in the Bronx, New York, John Joseph Gotti Jr. was one of 13 children. Growing up in poverty, he quickly decided that the streets were his best shot at success. By the age of 12, Gotti had already joined a street gang and was involved in many petty crimes. By the time Gotti was 16, he had dropped out of high school to pursue a life of full-time crime. It wasn't long before he caught the attention of the infamous Gambino family, one of the most powerful crime families in the entire city. Now fast forwarding to the 1970s, Gotti's ruthlessness and ambition led him to rise through the ranks of the Gambino family. He started out as an associate, carrying out small-time thefts and hijackings. But his big break came when he became an enforcer for Carmine Fatico, a capo regime in the Gambino family. By the late 1970s, Gotti had become a made man, a fully initiated member of the mafia. His involvement in high-profile hijackings and murders, particularly the hit on James McBratney, who had kidnapped and killed a Gambino member, he cemented his reputation as a trusted member of the family. Gotti's rise continued, but he had his sights set even higher. In 1985, he orchestrated the murder of Paul Castellano, the then boss of the Gambino family, outside a Sparks Steakhouse in Manhattan. This bold move paved the way for Gotti to become the new head of the family. Gotti's charisma and flamboyant style earned him the nickname the Dapper Don. He loved the spotlight and often appeared in public wearing expensive suits and flashing a confident smile. But his high profile made him a prime target for law enforcement. In order to maintain his freedom, he would often bribe the jury and law enforcement to make sure he wasn't convicted. But every empire has its cracks. The FBI, determined to bring Gotti down, placed bugs in the Ravenite Social Club and gathered enough evidence to finally charge him. This bug captured conversations that would be used as key evidence against Gotti. Agent Bruce Mao led the Gambino squad, and his team spent countless hours listening to the recordings. One crucial moment was when Gotti was caught on tape discussing murders and other criminal activities with his associates. These recordings, combined with the testimony of Sammy the Bull, who flipped and became a government witness, were key factors in the strongest case against Gotti in hopes to finally put him behind bars. Gotti was no stranger to the courtroom. He was tried 3 times in the 1980s, and each time he managed to walk free. This earned him the nickname the Teflon Don, because no charges would stick. In 1986, Gotti was acquitted of racketeering charges. In 1987, he was acquitted again, this time of assault and conspiracy. And in 1990, he beat charges of assault and conspiracy to commit murder. How did he do it? Jury tampering, witness intimidation, and a team of top-notch lawyers. Gotti's trials were a media circus. His defense team, led by Bruce Cutler, argued that he was being unfairly targeted by overzealous prosecutors. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, Gotti's associates were making sure that the jurors were either bribed or intimidated. But this time, the FBI learned from their mistakes. They knew they had to get airtight evidence that even Gotti couldn't escape. And that's where the wiretaps and Sammy the Bull's testimony finally came in. In 1992, Gotti was finally brought to trial with overwhelming evidence. Sammy the Bull's betrayal was the final nail in the coffin. Gotti was convicted on multiple charges including murder and racketeering. Gravano's testimony was devastating. He detailed Gotti's involvement in 19 murders and other criminal activities. The jury took 14 hours to convict Gotti on all charges. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Even behind bars, Gotti remained a figure of fascination. He passed away in 2002, but his legacy lives on in books, movies, and the collective memory of New York.